the National Task Force support of South Florida's LGBTQ Equality Fund. Last year, the Trevor Project reported that 42% of LGBTQ plus youth seriously contemplated suicide, and 75% experienced discrimination. These numbers are startling and call upon us all to step up and care for this important part of our community. The LGBTQ Equity Fund is a new philanthropic collaboration led by our fund, the National LGBTQ Task Force, and the Miami Foundation, in partnership with numerous other allies, champions, and supporters, without whom this initiative would not have been possible. Together, they direct grants to organizations strengthening the LGBTQ+ community in South Florida. Our fund foundation promotes philanthropy, manages enduring investments, and conducts impactful grant making to improve the lives of LGBTQ people in South Florida. It was launched in 2010 by a small group of committed activists, philanthropists, in response to the low ratio of philanthropy directed to LGBTQ organizations in the region and across the country. Since 2011, our fund foundation has become the third largest LGBT foundation in the country, granting $1.5 million annually to worthy nonprofit agencies advancing LGBTQ causes in South Florida, and has grown its asset base to over $17 million. The Miami Foundation, on the other hand, is focused on building a stronger Miami forever. Over the last 50 years, it has invested more than $500 million into LGBTQ+ community and houses more than 427 million in assets focused on strengthening Greater Miami. Well, the Miami Foundation does an amazing job in Miami-Dade County. The task force in this strategic alliance, I think, is a tremendous idea, because these major organizations are saying, let's not work in a vacuum all by ourselves. Let's collaboratively work together. In Broward County, and really all over South Florida, our fund is becoming iconic in its support of community. It is a foundation designed for LGBT legacy giving, for you to make plans in will, assets, etc., and to create a fund where your estate, your lifetime assets, upon your death, can be beneficial to LGBTQ community forever. Mm-hmm. And our fund does really a great job with that.
Our fund is incredible, and yeah, they help so many LGBTQ+ organizations, but they really do like an umbrella over a lot of LGBTQ+ organizations. They deal with Lambda Living for the older folks, right? Yes. They deal with cancer associations. They deal with SunServe. They deal with SAGE. All the prominent bigwig organizations that we know and love, yes, depend on our fund as well at certain times of the year, and they always pick the best of the best. Celebrate Orgullo. So many places, so many events that we go to all the time on a yearly basis, and the money comes from a great place that is our fund.
Absolutely. And the notion that united we're stronger, right? I love the partnership between three big dogs, and they're putting their dollar where their mouth is, right? When we look at these numbers, they're pretty outstanding, but that's what it takes to get to where we want to be, which is changing minds and hearts and providing these services.
You know, one final thought. I know the Miami Foundation has done that for Miami-Dade County and their support of LGBT. Specifically with our fund and what they've done in LGBT and their track in South Florida, we went through a pandemic. Fay and I know, because we talked about it about 1,000 times. Square News tonight. No one took it on the chin more in pandemic than our 501c3 organizations. And they provide life-saving services, counseling, suicide prevention, students, trans, people of color, Latino support, lesbian support, cultural activities. Much of that was wiped out by the pandemic.
Yes.
And those one of the few, very few white knights that we had was our fund, who said, okay, as terrible as this pandemic is, our fundraising, etc., they provided emergency grant after emergency grant to keep our nonprofit 501c3s up and running through.
We would have lost a bunch of them now if it wasn't for our fund.
Exactly. So the community is going to be forever grateful to this kind of fundraising effort of foundations, and specifically to the Miami Foundation and, of course, our fun.
Our fun.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.